name's Jimmy. I actually really don't have any experience with this, but let's come on. Yeah.
I'm Mitch. This is my second game jam, first game jam making a board game.
I'm Spencer. This is my third game jam. First time making a board game, and I was really looking forward to doing this as a style and an approach, mainly for the fact that it doesn't take you to know like pretty much any of coding, and it allows you to pretty much go more into the just like working on the actual mechanics of the game, and allowing you to fine tune like how a game should be played, and not having to worry about, oh, are these graphics going to be able to apply to this object, or is this object acting funny? So, just want to talk about the game.
Our game is set in a post-apocalyptic world filled with zombies. It's a game of two teams. One team plays the survivors, trying to go throughout the areas and collect different pieces of radio so that they can get in touch with someone to come rescue them, while the other team plays the zombie horde, and they're trying to go around and kill the humans and stop them from escaping. You want to add anything?
Okay, so in this game we have our humans and our zombies represented by different minifigs. As a sample, we have is Ken from Street Fighter and Mickey Mouse. So we would have the zombies be like Mickey Mouse, and humans be Ken, and they'll go from different areas through movements. Everything is based on a D6 system. So you would roll your D6, depending on what you get, will be the number you would use to move. At the spots, you can do different things, such as attack, build a fort, or you can search for an item. When you search for the item, if you get, say, a 6 or a 5, you can find the key item, which would be your part 2, your radio, that you would use to win the game if you're human. So,
The object of for the zombie team to win is obviously to kill the humans, and also to give the zombies another advantage, because they're a bit of advantages for the humans. After a certain amount of time, if the humans don't construct the transmitter, the zombies automatically win.
So, one of the things that you'll be looking for during your searches is not only just the key item for the transmitter, but also items to help you in like your combat against the zombies, or to help you provide like movement benefits to allow you to travel faster. Then we also have like a form of combat, which is similar to rolling D6, and greater number wins, equal is a draw, and then lesser you lose in that combat situation. Yeah.
So do you have any overlapping strategies? Like, how many layers to the gameplay do you have in the combat system?
So the combat system is pretty simple, but sorry.
Start over.
The combat system is pretty simple, but you can do certain things, and one of the rules that we made is gang up attacks.
Right.
So, and both the humans and the zombies can do this, but if, let's say, 2 humans are in an area with another zombie, the 2 humans can spend their turn to both attack at the same time, and so they would both roll their die at the same time and add it together to give them advantage.
Mm-hmm.
So one of the things you could be is, one of the strategies you can use is all 3 zombies could just hold out in one area, and so you can stop them from finding the key item there, which is a possibility. But on that hand, all 3 the humans can go and enter that area too, and so it balances out in a sense.
Yeah, if people want to download this on the Game Jam site, our team name is Board Games. That's BORED Games. And the name of the game is Dead Transmission.
I say a slogan.
Yeah.
Board Games for bored people.
My name's Howard Anderson. I'm a stay-at-home dad. I own my own business that I run out of the house. And I'm just here my first time at a Global Game Jam.
Great, Tristan Lamonte. I'm a senior here at Louisiana State University. This is my first game jam, but it'll be the third game that I'm working on. Majoring in computer science, and I'm the one without the mustache.
My name is Kyle Easton, fourth year senior here at LSU. Should be graduating in May. This is my second Global Game Jam. I think third game that I've worked on. Yeah.
Michael Ross. This is my 1.5 game jam because I was in Orlando for a while, so I volunteered at a game jam last year. Then I was also part of a Indie Galactic game jam, which they do every year with NASA. I'm a 3D artist, but I don't have any experience, so I can't get hired. So right now I'm working up at EA doing QA stuff. Cool. What's the name of our team?
What is it? Tama Eagle?
Yeah. Not Tomahawk, Tama Eagle.
Tama
Yeah.
Eagle.
What's the name of our game?
Yeah, the name of our game is Manic Metal. Just the basic concept, it's kind of a dungeon crawler. You go from room to room. You're in a facility battling, what is it?
Rogue AI.
Yeah, rogue AI, so robots infected with computer virus. You're trying to transmit a signal with the proper code to fix them. You're going around, you can transmit it directly to them. Your transmitter has downtime. You can also ping your transmitter off a signal. If the AI, the robots are within that signal, then you can cure more than one. It's kind of a one-off, but whenever you do that, it makes it a lot easier. So that's kind of the basics.
And if that didn't say you want it, you are a robot on the moon.
Yes.
Yeah, in Switzerland, Sweden.
New
Switzerland.
New Switzerland.
in
Yeah.
22XX.
22XX. So if that doesn't say on the game, I'm not sure what will.
So what's your twist on transmission?
So we kind of went through a lot of different phases where we started off with zombies, transmission of viruses, that kind of stuff. Then whenever we eventually started moving on past zombies into robots, we started adding in different radio and wave elements to where it's like transmitting different signals that will like rewrite the code of the other AIs that have gone rogue. So it's kind of a multi-layer.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we pretty much have all the core aspects down. Like we have
All the main mechanics are there.
main mechanics are there. What we're focusing on right now is trying to get the look and perspective correct, especially with the shifting, since it is a dungeon crawler style, shifting of the camera per screen. That's what we're working on right now. But
Have you started level design? Have you started level
Currently in the
design?
process right now. We're working on that.
Gotcha.
started level design yesterday. Might have been a bit too early.
How many levels do you think you're going to have? Just the
I feel
one?
like if we aim for
It was 48 this morning, but it got narrowed down.
48?
Yeah.
You gotta aim high. If you aim high, then you actually make it.
I
somewhere.
could
Are
have.
there like one screen long? Like just go to the other end of the screen? Like done.
Oh, no.
We're still
probably-
discussing how we want the levels to sort of go, but I mean,
Cool. Any interesting revelations, discoveries, funny bugs?
I guess one of the concepts that we kind of moved towards was one of our group members, he thought, a lot of the games are constantly killing stuff. What would it be like if we could heal? So that's why we kind of had the concept of we're trying to get the computer virus off of the other robots instead of destroying them or something like that. So, yeah.
So it's robo repair.
Yeah, so it's,
basically you're essentially transmitting a new code to
alliteration
them.
as well.
yeah. So it kind of opens up the topic of what you could do.
Right.
Just kind of get out of the usual kill them, kind of run around game. So it makes it interesting and it gives you something to work with.
Cool. Well, thank you very much, guys. Awesome.
Hey everyone, our team name is General Informatics, and our game's name is Space Jam. My name is Ethan. I am the lead artist on the team and making most of the assets. Yeah. Outside of this, I work at General Informatics, which is where we get our name from, as a web designer primarily.
Hello, I'm Elvis Bolton. I'm with this GI team too. My profession is an app developer. Yeah, I really enjoy making games, so that's why I come here to Game Jam every year. It's like my third time.
I'm Roman. I'm a computer science major here at LSU, and I work at General Informatics part-time. I work on Elvis's team doing app development.
I'm Jeremy Krause. I also work at General Informatics with all of these people. I'm a programmer, and I'm a student here. Graduate next year.
It does help that we're friends, though. So we don't actually hate each other in real life. Okay, so I'm Caitlin. I'm not going to say that I work there again. No, I do. I work at General Informatics. It's where I work.
Are
yes.
there any other companies in Baton Rouge? It's just General Informatics.
It's just this one. We made a shiny new building. It's great.
How big is it? How many people work there?
Us. It's just us at the moment.
Oh yes, no, it's just us.
Just
We run the whole company.
The 5 of you.
No.
Okay.
Did I even introduce myself? I don't remember. Okay.
She's Caitlin.
I'm Caitlin. I am a programmer at General Informatics.
Did y'all say what y'all were doing on the game?
Okay, so
I'm a programmer, so I program.
programming art, music.
I'm doing music.
Although
We don't need
mostly
more programmers.
we don't need more programmers. I'm kind of doing a little bit of everything except for programming, ironically. I'm helping with some art stuff.
She makes clouds in space.
I make clouds in space. I'm also trying to keep us on track with things and make us be on time. So we could hopefully complete the game for the first time.
Yeah, complete the speaking stick.
The speaking stick is really awkward.
As it is.
The game. Should I spoil it? I mean.
Yeah.
Yeah, tell
Okay,
us what
well,
the game
the
is.
game
This
is,
is coming out
just-
till 2 a.m.
Oh, that's true. So the game is basically you're scavenging some wreckage or something. We don't really know yet. And aliens attack, and you're in space, and it's called Space Jam because come on, it's like.
I still want to
So the object of the game is to get back to your fleet, because the aliens are trying to attack you. But you're like a little scavenger ship, so you don't have a whole lot of weapons or anything. So you have to use a lot of stealth. And you can fight back, but all you have is a stun gun. So you can just get them away from you, and you can just run. That's all you can really do.
So, how close to alpha are you?
I don't know what's
Do we
considered
know?
alpha.
Definition of alpha would be all features in.
I mean, I can click play and it doesn't break at the moment.
That's not the definition of alpha. That's the definition of it builds. That's a smoke test.
We'll probably have alpha by the time. When do judges come around?
3.
Time? Probably a little bit after 3.
3:05.
We have most of our assets done. Thank you. Yeah, and we've got a good bit of we've got almost all of our sound effects done, and you're just working on extra.
All the sound effects are
all the
done.
sound effects are
The
done.
music is amazing. This guy made all the music.
One of the songs is done. I'm working.
Anybody?
That's cool.
Elvis hasn't talked.
Thanks a lot, guys. Awesome.
Space Jam.
All right, I'm Adam Bird, and this is Josh Parnell of Procedural Fatality, and we're both game developers full-time. We actually work together, and I don't think this is either of our first game jams, done this quite a few times. So our game today is tentatively named Debug Break, but the premise is you have 2 AI that are competing in a game of sort of something like air hockey. But one of them is your buddy, and you need to get him to win, but you have no direct control. All you can do is break into the queue of actions that are taking place in the game and influence them. So if if the puck's getting a little bit close to your goal and you break in, you can shrink the size of your goal. Or if it's getting close to the other guys, you can like make his goal bigger. So you can modify the state of the game, but only indirectly. And it's kind of meant to be a little bit chaotic and goofy, and got a little bit of a retro vibe to it. So that's the gist of that.
So how do you, what's the UX, what's the UI like to break in? Like describe the mechanic.
So it's actually just a single button. We're working on sort of tweaking it and figuring out exactly how to make it as accessible and interesting as we can. But currently you just hit spacebar and just whatever's sort of the closest target of opportunity, something that you're about to interact with is what you'll get access to. And then you have usually just a couple of number keys that you'll be able to press. So like you'll press spacebar and then it'll show you that it's highlighting like one of the players on the board, and you can either slow him down or shrink him so he can't really hit the puck very efficiently,
right?
Or you can make him big so he dominates the game field. So it's pretty much 3 buttons to play the game most of the time.
And it's literally air hockey. It's a puck floating around on a board with 2 goals at either end.
Yeah. And it's got sort of like a neon vector art sort of look to it.
Best of 5 or?
Yeah, so far
Something
we're
like
looking at 5 probably.
Right. Gotcha. And it's probably one of the more interesting interpretation of transmission so far. We've had lots of let's get parts of spaceships and send an SOS. That seems to be the common game theme right now. So what in your mind was, how do you think you incorporated the theme?
So the idea kind of spoke to us more than just not because it related to the theme, because we thought the idea was interesting. So our sort of like hand wavy way of explaining it is that you're sort of transmitting your will into the game, but only indirectly.
I mean, there are a lot of ways. There are a lot of ways that you could wrap that interpretation up more nicely, because I mean, we are like sending commands basically that change the game state and actually. But of course, every game is like that. But the idea of indirect control and transmission, you could wrap that in a lot of pretty packages. But we're more like interested in the actual. I guess,
so is part of the game mechanic to frustrate the player? Like is part of that hacking in supposed to be like
because they won't necessarily understand what the options mean when they first see them, because minimal description is given. So like if the puck's about to bounce off a wall and you've broken into that action and you see wrap, for example, first time you choose it and realize that like does a toroidal wrap instead of a bounce, that might confuse you, but it is kind of neat when you learn and get good at it, especially doing this in real time, that like you can actually angle some pretty neat shots, and then watching the AI compensate for that as they
single player.
Yeah.
Right.
Well,
so
really, like no player in some sense, but yes.
Yeah, but it's not competitive. It's not like you're each playing.
Right.
You're trying to get one team, one side to win.
Yeah.
Yes.
Cool. Thanks a lot, guys. Awesome.
I'm Jabari Newton. My teammate is Thomas Santopadre, who's not here right now. He's on the way back. This is not our first. This is the second jam we've done together. I think we kind of like make a good team, so we're trying out it again. This time we're incorporating the theme of transmission into our game by transmission of energy. And the general mechanic of our game is that you take whatever direction you have, whatever kinetic energy you can fire a projectile that takes that same kinetic energy and applies it to a platform. So you have to, while in the air, oftentimes jump where you want to go, where you want the platform to go, and then jump in the direction where you want to go. And it's like a puzzle for your hands to find out. But once you do, it clicks and it feels very good. I'm an artist. He's a programmer. I talked about this is our second time. Our team name is Space Hogs. And I don't think we have a title for our game. Soylent Transmission.
And 2D or 3D? 2D or 3D?
It is a 2D side scroller.
2D side scroller. Gotcha.
Yes.
Using
Unity.
Unity. Gotcha. So how many Unity games have you done before?
Unity games? I think every game I've made has been on Unity. So I probably 4. It's
Right.
Like my third, fourth game on Unity.
And you're doing the art in
Yeah, we just split it like programming, art.
what software package are you doing the art in?
I do the art in Photoshop.
Photoshop.
A lot of
Pixel pushing.
Yeah, yeah. You can Photoshop lets you do everything. So very, very good tool.
Cool. Thank you.
Awesome.
Unless there's something else you want to add?
Wait, what?
Unless there's something else you want to add?
I'm glad our mechanic came through because I was scared.
Cool.
I'm Josh. I'm a cybersecurity analyst, and this is my 4th game jam.
I'm Luke, currently a student, and this is my first game jam.
My name is Mohammed Jabbar. I'm a student at LSU, and this is my 2nd game jam.
Jeremy Grimion, architecture student at LSU, and this is also my first game jam.
So I guess a little bit about our game. Our game is Contact? Yeah, Contact. It's a post-apocalyptic resource management where you have to platform away from enemies and find lore bits, maps, and the goal is to move resources around to people that need them and gain pieces of a satellite dish to contact the outside world.
We're building the game in Unity. I don't know what else to say.
Like, what are you working with right now?
Currently, we're still working on like building the world and placing all the collectibles for players to go out and find.
Yeah, right now I'm just working on trying to get the animation to work, and thankfully that's actually working well now after many stressful hours. Just getting it to work with Unity. All I love to do is script, but you have to do all these other things too. It's all part of the package.
I'm a representative of our team. I don't know if we've mentioned this yet, but we were a 12-man team with a varied collection of people that are all doing different things, including sound and art. And I went to this game jam not knowing how to do any sort of 3D artwork, and now I am suddenly becoming proficient in voxels, so that's fun. And it's been a great learning experience, and I've been enjoying it a lot so far.
So what are the challenges been like with a 12-person team? That's pretty big for a short project like this.
I mean, it seemed like it's a lot of people when we first got into it, but once we split up all the tasks and everybody knew what they were doing, it became much more manageable. Because at the beginning, we didn't know what was our strong suits. A lot of us, this was the first time doing it. For me, this is the 2nd time. I mean, but honestly, it doesn't matter if it's the first time you do this, 2nd time, first time we've managed to win first place. We don't know how, but we've done it. So, if you're hesitant on going to a game jam, I really do recommend it because you never know what you can have until you try.
One of the challenges that a lot of people run into with larger teams is that they just jump right into the code and the game and they don't stop to think. So we actually started a little bit later. We spent maybe 2 hours on documentation, but once all that was done, everybody knew what they were doing. We had 6 programmers and 4 artists. Everyone had their own task, pair programming. Everything was on a Scrum board. It was all very well managed using Git for version control. So it doesn't matter who messes up what. You can always roll back as long as it's well managed. A 12-person team is doable. Anything else? Good.
What % complete do you think you are? This point.
Right now, I think that we're probably around 80% complete.
80% complete.
So
you might get some tuning in tomorrow.
We've got some tuning time. Right now, we are importing dialogue and sound, while some of the other teams are working on animating and level design. And once that's done, it'll be finished.
Yeah, I mean, for the most part, everything is done. It's just right now, it's just putting everything together and making sure everything is working properly, from our assets to animation to the features and the programs things that we've programmed.
So the game itself was designed to be kind of an addictive exploration game, but the problem with that is it's also resource management. So your life bar drains when you're outside, and like picking up, one of the goals of the game is you have to gather pieces of a satellite to put it back together and contact the outside world. Having that piece of the satellite makes you slower. So if you just pick up a piece and then try to go back to your base, you'll probably die on the way back on the first time. So you have to, it's kind of meticulous in how you play the game, but hopefully the exploration will be enough to keep players entertained without just getting annoyed at resource managing.
Cool.
Yeah, I mean, definitely a big draw of the game would be like getting close to your goal, but not quite reaching it. Like you were saying, like slowing the player down when you're carrying the important kind of goal pieces that you're collecting. So that maybe you find a piece, but you can't get it back, but you remember, oh, I need to go back and get that later. So kind of keeps the player engaged.
Cool. Thanks a lot, guys.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Yeah. My name's Lindsay Reed. My day job is being an indie game developer. I'm working on a procedural space game called Limit Theory. Look it up. I think this is the second global game jam that I've done. No, third. This is the third global game jam that I've done. And our game uses the transmission theme by talking about like the sort of like intermittent step in between death and rebirth. So it uses some like Buddhist themes. My other partner, who is like getting coffee or something right now, is Buddhist, and then sort of like we're using some inspiration from the themes of that religion plus like the theme of the game jam to make this like transmission from like death to rebirth. And so you play a ferryman who's running a boat, who is carrying those souls through that process. And to help this person make that transition, like basically what the mechanic of the game is you're trying to like understand them. So we're also trying to use kind of like the kindness diversifier in that way. And understanding them is represented by combining different colors that you see that are represented as like fairies floating around in the scene, and you like click on the fairies and the colors that you make add together, and you're trying to make the color that you're creating match the color of your passenger's soul. And it's also never ending. It continues to loop. So after you match one passenger's like soul color, then they pass on, and then you get a new passenger, and the game continues forever.
But it doesn't escalate like an endless runner. It's not
It
something that
doesn't.
speeds up till you
No,
die.
it doesn't escalate
Okay.
in any way. It's supposed to be like a very like chill, contemplative puzzle game.
So you're trying to get it to be meditative?
Huh?
Are you trying to get it to be meditative?
Yeah.
So
Meditative
it's sort of
is
a
a good word.
sort
yeah.
of a Zen.
Yes.
Lose track of time, repetition,
Yes.
purposely, right?
Yes, absolutely.
So how close do you think you are to that target?
Well, we pretty much finished like the core mechanic of the color matching
Right.
and color combining last night, and the boat moving. So I feel pretty confident about like the mechanic, and everything that we've been doing since then is just making it look good. Because a big part, other than the simple mechanic, is just like does it have the like atmosphere and aesthetic of being calming and zen. And so we've been trying to like bring the aesthetic to that point with like animations, and I've been writing custom shaders, and yeah, Katana's been doing like the art and animations.
What about audio?
Yeah. We don't have an audio person on our team, so that's what like the Creative Commons licenses are for. We're gonna just find something, unless we have one friend who might be able to do some audio work for us, but we'll see. Yeah.
So is there a fine line between being meditative and being bored?
Of course there is, yes.
What's that crossing point to where
The crossing point?
Because some games I find with a repetitive mechanic can be really dull, and some games I find like I'll lose track of time. I just get right into it. Right?
Yeah,
And I've
yeah.
never understood why some repetitive mechanics work and some don't.
I mean, that's just a matter of like, partially personal preference. Like, some people are just gonna like this type of game, and some people aren't. But it's also like, communicating a theme is a big
Right.
part of that, because doing a repetitive task like just like peeling potatoes or something in your real life means nothing unless like you are of the mindset on purpose,
Right.
like I'm peeling these potatoes for like a meditative purpose. And so what the aesthetic and like thematic elements of that game does are supposed to be what brings you into that mindset. That plus like is the color matching actually like tuned well to flow well. So if we're doing a good job with like the color matching, then solving that puzzle will be right on that, in that sweet spot between like annoyingly difficult and way too easy, and being in that sweet spot. I mean, for any game, regardless of whether it's like a chill meditative game or not, like that sweet spot's definitely a big part of it.
Anything else you want to add?
Nope.
Cool. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I'm Trevor Serpaz. I'm a computer science student at LSU, sophomore. I've been to 3 game jams before, and this is Hunter. He's I'll give the mic to him.
My name's Hunter. I'm a senior here at LSU, computer science with a second discipline in business. This is my first game jam, so definitely an experience for me. I haven't got much sleep, but just a little bit about our game. Our game is theme was transmission, which wasn't really an easy theme to roll with at first. It took us a long time to come up with a concept, but we got a concept that's kind of mind hopping, if you will. I also did a lot of the programming with Trevor, although he did lead most of it. Basically what you do is there's 3 types of enemies: guards, scientists, scrubs. You run away from scrubs, chase scientists, and the guards will be patrolling. Got to kind of avoid them and get to the end without dying.
This is Sarah. She handles a lot of the odds and ends and makes sure everyone's on the same page. I'll give the mic to her.
I'm a mass comm major, senior at LSU. So our game tentatively is called, I almost forgot it, Hot Potato Brain. So as Trevor said, that it is this mind hopping, and we really like the concept of, it's kind of a horror game, but it's also not afraid to be kind of funny at the same time, just to lighten it up. We have a really big team. Just anyone who really was trickling in, who was like, hey, I need like a group to join. And we were like, hey, what skill do you have? Even if we had people who already had that skill, just to see what everyone could really bring together. And this is Keith.
Hi, I'm Keith Parker, and I'm also a game student. I have never done this before. It's been a really crazy ride so far, and we're just hoping we can pull it all together at the last minute. Still have a bit to go. It is an exciting game, and it's been really interesting experience working with so many people. Trying to keep everybody working together for the same ideas has been a bit of a challenge, but we've got great people that have definitely gone above and beyond for that, and I'm excited to see what we're able to turn out in just 48 hours. It should be pretty cool.
How big's your team?
Oh gosh, 12 people, so we have the second largest team here, and at least according to what I was reading on the notes.
It's like 5 programmers.
There's one team that has one person more than us, and I think that's a group of professionals, and we're mostly all first-timers, so it's been pretty crazy.
So what % complete do you think your game is at this point? Give it a number.
50, 60. You think it's 50, 60?
50, 60? Yeah, maybe so.
I mean, it's designed. We just have to put everything together.
You just have to make the game.
Yeah, we have we have a plan, and the assets are coming in, and the code is pretty solid so far. And honestly, it's just putting in the assets that way that we can avoid collisions and having people walking through walls, because unfortunately we don't have any poltergeists in this game. In that case, then it wouldn't be a bug, it'd be a feature, but it's all right. And we're just trucking along, doing our best, not sleeping. It's for you.
Yeah, I feel like we're coming along really well. From the start, we felt like we were at a good pace, and I feel like we will finish at a good pace.
So some tuning time, you think? You'll have some tuning time, you think?
Oh, yeah.
For sure. Yeah. It's like It's like if you had a recipe that you knew was a good recipe, and you went grocery shopping and you got everything on your list, and you got home and you got in the kitchen, but you're still waiting for the oven to heat up and to kind of throw everything together and mix it together. So we're just hoping that we didn't forget something important, or that there wasn't some unforeseen, catastrophe just lurking around the bend. But I think if we have just a little bit of luck, we should be able to pull it off.
Cool. Well, get back to it, guys. Good luck.
Thanks.
Yeah, I'm Trey from Team Zero. I'm a college student, and this is my third game jam.
My name's Todd. I'm a professional video game developer. This is my third game jam, and I think that's it.
My name's Daniel. I am also a professional video game developer, and this is my second game jam.
And I'm Clayton Pershaw, burgeoning professional game developer, and recently graduated, and this is my first game jam.
Yeah, we'll give it to Trey so you can start us off with the story.
Okay, our theme is transmission for this year, and our game starts off where an alien race of partiers comes to Earth to play their sick jams directly to the surface of the planet, and they don't know this, but it causes an EMP, and it causes everyone to dance until their hearts explode. So we have this scientist in a tinfoil hat to avoid getting affected by the music waves, slingshot himself to the spaceship in an Angry Birds slingshot apparatus, and he's going through with a MP3 player, a Red Bull can, and some sort of antenna with something radioactive to fire depressing music at the aliens to defeat them and stop their partying once and for all.
So it's Angry Birds is the game mechanic, or?
Yeah, kind of.
For the cutscene in the beginning.
So it's a
yeah.
physics-based game.
Not necessarily. It plays more like a Mario game. It's just that first concept to get you there, because spaceships don't work. It's an EMP.
So it's a platform.
It's a puzzle platformer.
Gotcha.
Yeah. The game is, again, it's a puzzle platformer where you have a weapon called the Jammer, and with it you'll be able to use to activate and deactivate certain items, such as trap doors, buttons to open other doors, push blocks and stuff to reach higher ledges, and later on, maybe even more powerful weaponry that will help you combat the aliens that are aboard the ship. The aliens they seem pretty cool at first. They like to dance a lot, but if you try to get too close, they'll try to dance with you to death. So you gotta stay away from them. Try to find a way to get around them, and that's where the challenge comes in.
So do they have long distance attacks, the enemies, or is it all close in melee?
It's pretty much up close and personal.
Did you get to do anything interesting with the enemy AI, or are they just like going back and forth on platforms and stuff? Is it just all level design?
Yeah, we're kind of doing the simple route for the AI. We have about 3 or 4 reactive objects that are going to react to your jammer, as we call it. So we're kind of focusing more on the puzzle side. The way the team's spread out is we have one artist, we have a designer, we have a sound guy, and I'm kind of helping out with the tech and making sure everything's flowing well together and we're on point. So the tech side is going to be a little light, but we're hoping to have like something artistically pleasing and something that's in the end fun to play, even if you don't actually win the first time.
And there's the whole team? It's a 4-person team?
Yeah.
So what's it been like? What percent complete, and what's the experience been like so far?
It's been good so far. We're actually using Unreal Engine 4, so we're kind of setting things up. We started with the level block out, and we're now moving some of the art pieces into the block out design that we've done. So it's moving along quite quickly now.
Are you using the 3D engine with the camera locked off, or are you using the 2D?
We are doing a 2D, setup.
So is that a 2D physics? It's optimized for 2D then, the physics for it?
Right,
Gotcha.
right. The sprites are still using 3D collision to kind of help and everything, and you still have the 3D environment to layer all of your slides.
Right.
But yeah, it's a very simplistic 2D guy. You're running around trying to have some fun. So I'd say with the responsive objects, we're probably 4 out of 5 done. We're going to start using those in modular ways to come up with complex puzzles. So maybe 60% of the way.
How many levels do you think you're going to have at the end of the day?
We're shooting for 2, like
Gotcha.
the first half and then the second half.
Yeah, 2 or like a highly complicated 1 level. It just depends on how tonight goes.
This has been really fun.
It's gonna sound great.
It is.
Is audio your normal job, or is this something you're just doing for this?
I've been a music producer for around 7 years.
Okay, so this is your role in games is audio.
Not really.
Not really? What is it? Engineering or then?
I'm more on QA production side of things.
QA production. Gotcha.
Yeah, we were trying to do stuff we didn't do for a living here.
Yeah, of course. Then you get to do fun things.
Right.
Things you haven't done before. Absolutely.
Like I've never used Unreal before, and this is my first time doing it, so.
Yeah.
We're trying to create a really fun, whimsical, crazy game.
Cool. Well, good luck, guys.
Thank you.
Awesome. I'm gonna harass the other team.
Our name is Parallax Visions. This is our 5th game jam, right? I think it's our 5th.
Yeah.
My name is Michael Bordley. By day, I sell insurance for State Farm. By night, I make games with Parallax Visions. I'm the artist and musician.
I'm Baron Burmaster. I'm a student at Loyola University. I'm also a research assistant for the history department there. And I'm the lab writer, game designer.
My name is Curtis. I'm a humble codesmith, and I write the computer programs.
Is that your job?
That's my job. I do it. People give me money for it. They call me a professional sometimes.
So it's your job and your hobby.
Yes, I am.
Job is,
I'm a very single-minded man. Yeah, it's a jobby.
Jobby.
And our game.
Our game is called Disruption.
Oh, did we change it? No, it was called Interference.
Interference. Just kidding.
It's called Interference.
I know what I'm talking about. Trust me. So Interference is a twin-stick arcade shooter. It's kind of like Skyrim, if you've ever played that. Very open-ended. We've got, special effects. There's screen shake, explosions, noises. It's a real great experience.
It's a wave-based enemy shooter. You have a quantum transmitter as your weapon that sends radio frequencies to the robots that are attacking you, and it gives them a self-destruct signal. Every few seconds or so, they adapt to the frequency, and you have to change the frequency of your weapon to another one they'll be vulnerable to again. To do that, there's another little interface where you can tune a knob into a frequency. And the goal is to stand there and defend a beacon until it transmits all of the data from this abandoned research facility back to the ship that you came from, and then you get beaten back to the ship and win.
So if one controller's movement, one controller's shooting, how do you turn the knob?
So they're both analog sticks. You point it in the direction, and he'll shoot in whatever direction you're pointing in.
Oh, the knob, the tuning knob,
sorry,
that's a separate interface that you press up when you get a button prompt to bring up that interface,
Gotcha.
and then it comes up and you move
Okay.
it with controls.
So you're not just dynamically doing it while
No.
you're not doing a third thing while moving and shooting.
Correct.
So basically, you have to collect all these puzzle pieces, and the puzzle pieces make paintings.
He's making stuff up.
That's Banjo-Kazooie. I'm not making anything up.
Yeah, it's not our game.
That's not our game, no. We didn't make
We've
that.
explained the entire system.
Yeah. It incorporates the theme of transmission because you are both transmitting a message back to your mother's ship, or home ship, your ship. And you also have to use your transmitting device to defend yourself. And you vary the phase sequence and disrupt the enemy, magneton, polarity shift.
Star Trek Babel.
Yeah. Ever seen Star Trek? It's great.
So is this going to be a signature Parallax Vision game? Is this going to look very
It will
familiar?
unmistakably be a Parallax Visions game.
It looks like a Parallax Visions game.
Looks like a Parallax Visions game. Sounds like a Parallax Visions game.
So you've not gone country on us?
No.
Not yet.
This isn't the rustic camping simulator we've long to make. And that's us with Parallax Visions.
Cool. Thanks a lot, guys.
Hey, I'm Cameron Bragg, and this is my 5th Game Jam, 3rd Global Game Jam.
I'm Ethan Casiello, and this is my, 3rd or 4th Global Game Jam. I've done a few of the Wix Game Jams, but...
I'm Maggie Legrone. This is my 3rd Global Game Jam, 4th Game Jam total, I think.
That sounds right.
Okay.
There you go.
It's gonna be fun.
So, what are we supposed to be talking about? The game?
The game.
Okay, so we're making a little, bunker simulator where the theme of transmission translates into you being kind of like an old-timey switchboard operator, but not quite switchboards. You're managing incoming messages through old pneumatic tubes and sorting those into the appropriate tube while your bunker catches fire, and you have to put that out and keep up the machinery and keep it from falling apart, all while the mail piles up, and you have to constantly keep that sorted out and in order.
I think we tried to go with it's sort of like a Fallout shelter style theme. It's kind of like you're kind of drawn in by you'll have radio interaction where there'll be a little announcer that'll play audio tracks, and he gives little announcements to give kind of world building stuff in there, and so that kind of explains why you're there, or what the purpose of the bunker is, and it's all kind of just a little added bonus of humor and story.
I don't think we've said any technical things, so it's 3D, made in Unity. We made all of our models, animations, and environments, and how here, audio. Sorry. I can't think of what else to say.
The 3 of us all went to LSU, and we graduated with degrees in digital art. So it's 3 artists currently, and we had a programmer for a while before he had to leave early. So currently have a very nice looking game that does absolutely nothing.
So what are your guys' day job now?
We work at a local indie game company, pretty much doing their what we're doing here. We also started our own company this past year, Tiny Void Games. So we just like making little games. So that's what we do, day jobs.
So Tiny Boy Games have you shipped a game yet?
Not yet.
Not yet.
Still our first game currently in development.
Gotcha. So when's it look? Can you tease it?
End of summer. Hopefully we'll have everything. Yeah.
At least beta by end of summer.
At least beta by end of summer. It's also kind of sci-fi themed, planetary exploration, focusing on aesthetics since we are mostly a team of artists.
Art team.
Love making things look nice. Yeah.
I don't really know what to say. I just took the mic.
Cool. Thanks a lot, guys. Awesome.
Sorry for that riveting interview.
I'm Afsana Ghazovi, and I'm doing the artistic part of the game. And we have 4 other girls that we are doing the art part.
I'm Thomas Collada. I'm one of the programmers on our game. I set up the VR foundation that we're using for the game, and I've worked on with the Vive that we're using. I've worked on making the teleportation system from Steam VR's plugin that we're using, and I've worked on making some of the mechanics that the player uses to interact with the world.
My name is Patrick Blanchard, and I helped create some of the features that the player uses to interact with the world and locate objects within the world.
I'm Joseph Fitzwater. I did some of the programming, sound work, other odds and ends. So the quick concept of what our game is using the Vive. You are stranded on an alien planet, and you need to explore the various islands to find pieces of a radar dish to transmit back an SOS signal. There are audio logs with some transmitted messages you find along the way that reveal more of your character's past, an emotional, conclusion to the story. So yeah, it's pretty exciting. To use that, there's a mechanic that they worked on for a kind of radar sonar gun where you send out a pulse. There's a cooldown on it, but when it hits one of the parts of the objects you need to find, it'll send off a light stream up into the air as a waypoint to kind of help navigate you.
Cool. Thanks a lot, guys.
Awesome. What's the team name and project?
We're Team Snowflake.
Oh yeah, we're Team. What's
Snowflake.
the name of your project?
The name of the project?
We're
The
working.
game?
We're name pending.
Okay, that'll work.
Hello. My name is Joshua Richter, and this is.
Ryan Harvey, and we are Team Albino Polar Bear.
Yes, and so I'm the primary artist and animator for Albino Polar Bear, and
I guess I'm one of the programmers.
yeah, and
We actually have 3 other team members who are not around at the moment, so we're missing them for the interview. So we decided to, we kind of wanted to do a 2D kind of old school game. So most of us are pretty new to this, and so we're trying to figure out what we could reasonably do. So we went with a stealth type game. So it's kind of, each level is a puzzle. You have to, you have a certain amount of energy that you can expend trying to infiltrate this place to get the transmissions. And so as you walk through the place, you know, you're expending energy, and you have to try to capture enough energy to get through, but not run into the path of people who will kick you out. So pretty interesting puzzles, and we're doing randomly generated levels, so it's like endless number of levels.
Cool. So what percent complete yet?
So we have a working playable game. We're polishing some of the artwork and hoping to do a little more with enemy pathfinding if we have enough time to do that. And then, you know, small tweaks and other things we might add at the last minute, but we have something we could deliver now if we had to.
Gotcha. So you think you'll have some tuning time?
Yeah, that's kind of what we're trying to do now. So.
Gotcha. Cool. Anything you want to add?
No, I've just been working hard with animating this whole time.
Have you animated before?
Yes, I once before. I was at the game jam that they had here the animation jam they had
Right.
last year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. Are you an LSU student?
No.
No. Just from the area.
Yeah, and I'm not a student either.
Yeah.
I'm work from home, New Orleans area. Yeah, for me, I've really enjoyed, this is my first experience actually trying to build a game, and so I've kind of enjoyed the experience learning how that works, and we've been using Unity, so I've been kind of figuring out how Unity works. And
where did you hear about this?
Came through on a university email, so I work part-time at Loyola, and came through one of our faculty, I guess, and so I thought it would be a fun thing to do, and I signed up.
Yeah, and I've just been, I guess, practicing art and animation in general. Like I said, I was at the animation jam here last year, and it's really cool to be part of a game design team. It gives me a different kind of project to work on. I apply my art skills in that kind of a different environment, you know, and it's cool. I always like playing video games, so it's cool to be here to be part of making a game.
Cool. All right. Thanks a lot, guys. Appreciate it.